Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. My name is Kaylin and I will be your storyteller for the day, just to be extra lame with that little sentence. Anyway, today I have 3 stories for you guys and I hope you enjoy them. It's a little quick video I think, but it will be worth it, I promise. Anyway, enjoy the stories. I stumbled upon a link here from TV tropes of all places, having no idea this existed as a type of cryptid or had a name. My experience is from late 2006, just before the winter break of my freshman year of college. I went to a small college in rural western Pennsylvania, and the freshman parking lot was on the edge of campus, up against some state game lands. We'd go out a couple of nights a week to smoke some weed, and that night went to our usual spot in a clearing with a fallen log to sit on, just past what you could see from the parking lot, though we could see the lights from the lot through the trees behind us. Now, I'm sure you're already thinking it was probably just the weed, but we were veteran smokers. Had just started smoking that night and had been smoking out of the same bag previous nights without any weird things happening. We packed a bowl and had maybe one hit each as we sat there talking quietly. It was winter and this night was particularly cold, like in the teens Fahrenheit. But very still, no wind, almost nothing making sound out in the woods where we were. I took my first hit and handed the bowl and lighter back to my friend, then looked up to exhale. That's when I saw it through the smoke, a humanoid face in the trees on the other side of the clearing, opposite the parking lot. It was just above a branch that it had a hand wrapped around. I think it had 3 fingers with very long, narrow thumb that stuck out several inches past its other fingers, each tipped with a pointed nail. As the smoke cleared, I got a better look at its face. Very pale, almost greyish skin. Bald, no eyebrows. No other hair of any kind. No ears that I could see. Big eyes relative to its head that were very dark in colour, catching just a little bit of light from the lights of the parking lot behind us, which made them seem kind of reflective. I didn't get a great look at the nose or mouth, as I was fixated on the eyes. From what I recall, they seemed small relative to its head compared to a human. I tapped my friend's knee and quick glanced over at him to see if he saw us as well, and he was staring at it too, so it's something we both saw independently. I looked back at it just as it released its hand from the branch, revealing very long, thin fingers to match the thumb, and then it moved backwards out of sight without making a sound, even though there were dry leaves all over the ground. I'd guess only about 5 seconds actually passed during the span, but it felt much longer, and there was this odd calm over the whole situation. As soon as it was out of sight, however, my friend and I both felt intense fear and we ran back to the parking lot. It was in such a panic that he didn't realize he had stuffed the still smoking bowl into his coat pocket and dropped the lighter. We ran to the opposite side of the lot from the woods where there was a road, some cars passing, and some other students walking around, where we finally felt safe. There was no initial, "Oh my god, did you see that? What was that?" kind of conversation before we calmed down and talked about the details of what we saw, which matched up perfectly. The only thing he noticed that I didn't was that he said he didn't think it even had a mouth. We thought it was maybe a classic grey alien or something, but knew no one would believe us and didn't tell anyone else. The next day we went back to the spot of the woods and found our lighter standing upright on the log we were sitting on. The odds of it falling and landing like that are very, very low, adding another creepy factor. Did this thing find it and put it there? We also walked over to the tree where we saw it, and found the branch it was grasping. It was a good 10 to 12 feet above the ground. We couldn't have even reached it by jumping, and there was nothing around. No stumps, no rocks, no lower branches that it could have been standing on, so it had to be tall to appear there. Weirdly, the leaves on the ground had been disturbed all around the area beneath the tree. Not like just tracks or something, but it was as if something had intentionally brushed the leaves away and then dug some shallow holes, maybe 4 to 6 of them, about 6 to 8 inches deep and 2 to 3 inches wide. My friend was a biology major who had been an Eagle Scout and now works in a state park, so he knew a good deal about most of the area's wildlife and didn't know of anything that would disturb the ground in that fashion. Plenty of animals dig, but they don't sweep away the area probably 5 foot to 5 foot of leaves like that just to dig a couple of holes like that. He couldn't find any other tracks leading away from the area either. We never went back out there after dark again, and we never saw it again either. Anyway, that's my possible encounter with a crawler. Make of that what you will. My family has around 360 acres in northern Oklahoma that has been in our family since the land rush. Growing up, the family would meet there for Thanksgiving and Christmas. But as the family expanded, it was quickly outgrown. Nowadays, I'm about the only person that goes there, and I went there regularly to train with my firearms. I went there earlier this year and had an experience that shook me so badly that I haven't spoken about it until recently. And I will never go back there alone. I arrived around 2 p.m. and set my targets, but something felt off. I used my electronic headset for hearing protection that also amplifies ambient noise, and I noticed that everything seemed to stop. No wind, no bugs, no birds, nothing. Just complete and total silence, which is very unusual for the area. I ran my normal drills, and as the sun starts to set, things get stranger. Odd smells like dirty litter box plus body odor started coming around, and I noticed that the coyotes were crossing the fields west of me, almost as if they were consciously avoiding entering the woods nearby. Then I started hearing interference coming over my headset, and what sounded like disembodied voices speaking in an indiscernible language that I couldn't hear with the naked ear. Now I'm starting to worry. I start gathering my things, and I hear what sounds like a woman's blood-curdling screams coming from the woods. I've heard mountain lions and bobcats squaring off, which we do have on the property, but the sound was neither of those things. Around the same time, I got what I can only describe as a nauseating, omnidirectional feeling of being watched, shortly followed by very distinct footsteps trudging through the foliage in the trees approximately 30 yards from my position. I've been an avid hunter since childhood and familiar with noises of the woods, and the cadence of the footsteps were indicative of a large bipedal creature, oddly human-like. Very concerning considering I'm in the middle of a large swath of the property that's 25 miles from the nearest populated area. I pull up my phone to take a video, and I start scanning the tree lines with my flashlight. Standing behind a tree at the edge of the tree line was a tall black silhouette with spindly limbs and a pale face looking directly at me. I managed to capture a great still image of it from the video. I quickly grabbed my range bag and made a run towards my truck. I get about 50 yards from the truck, and the light post on our property that is hooked up to the county power and has never been turned off in the 20 years I've been going here suddenly cuts off. Now I'm blindly running in the direction I believe my truck is in, while I hit the unlock button on my fob to find the lights. I get in my truck, speed off, and as I'm watching the rear view, the light post turns on. I apologize for the long pause, but I'm finally ready to get this out in the open for interpretation. I tend to think of myself as a rational person that doesn't necessarily believe in the woo kind of stuff. Although my mother described me as being sensitive and somewhat gravitated towards energies as a child, hence why I found this sub to ask. I was doing everything I could to rationalize or come up with a reasonable explanation for the things I was experiencing, but I have no explanation. The kind of fear this experience put into me was unlike any kind of fear I've ever felt. This happened around 13 years ago. My parents said that they were going on a date. Now I think I should mention that we lived in a very small town. There were no houses near us, but anyways, they said that they would be back in soon. They informed me on the rules. Don't open the door for anyone, etc. Once they left, I decided to lay down for a while. After about 25 minutes, I heard a knock at the door. I knew my parents weren't home yet, so I didn't check at first. But after a while, I found the strength to go check a window. I carefully peeped through the blinds, but no one was there. I was confused but also very scared. I sat down on the couch and forgot about it. After a while, I again heard a knock, but I also heard my mother's voice say, "Let me in." I checked the blinds once more and saw nothing. My heart dropped, and I ran to my room and closed the door behind me. I sat on my bed for what felt like hours, even though nothing had happened for a while, but the window closest to my bed was knocked on 3 times. I yelled out in fear and ran out of my room crying. I decided to go to my parents' room and wait for them to arrive. After a while, they finally got home and unlocked the door. I ran out the room and ran to them and told them about the strange things that happened. They obviously didn't believe me, but once they arrived, the knocking stopped completely. Nothing has happened since. And that's it for today's video. If you guys like this, please let me know, give it a like, subscribe to the channel, and you can even support the channel if you'd like to by clicking on the Patreon link in the description. It does help me quite a lot and helps me focus on this kind of content in the future. But anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any experiences you'd like me to read on the channel, please message me through Instagram. And yeah, I will see you guys next time. Bye bye.